What's up, guys? Nate and Sutton back with another video, and today we are talking about how to have self-confidence when you don't feel good about your self-image. Is that the topic?
About your appearance.
About your appearance. How do you do it, Sutton?
Well, this is actually really funny because I'm just realizing this. Right before we sat down to film this video, as you guys can see, we're in a different little setup. We're closer to the camera, and before we filmed this, I said to myself, I was like, oh, I'm glad that we sit far away from the camera because I'm just not feeling good today. And then I come downstairs and Nathaniel has this setup like this, and I was like, oh my gosh, why are we sitting closer to the camera? He likes the lighting. But anyway.
What perfect timing. Why don't you like the way you look today?
Yeah, so I've never had breakouts on my face in my whole life, thank God. But I would say the most I've ever had is 2 bumps at a time, and that's very rare. But something is happening to me, and I have these small little bumps, I'm hoping you can't see them, along my bottom lip line right here. And then also right under my eyes, just these little bumps. I've never heard of that. I've tried Googling it, and I can't find what it is.
So you're probably not feeling too good about your image today, are you?
Yeah, so
are you confident though?
Not really. So today we got to listen to what we're preaching, or I have to listen to what we're about to be preaching today because I'm talking to me too.
I'm feeling pretty confident today. No, actually not really. My hair, man. My hair has been acting so weird lately. I feel like, I don't know.
I didn't know you thought that.
Yeah. Anyway, so I feel like this is a good topic for us. I mean, for me especially because I, at one time, was extremely unhappy with the way I looked. Extremely. And I would say it affected my confidence big time. Growing up, I was very shy. I always felt like people were looking at me like I was ugly,
That's
everyone,
so sad.
everyone was better looking than me. And I feel like I had pretty good reason to think that because I was just...
Insert picture of younger Nathaniel here.
Yeah, maybe I'll insert some pictures here.
Oh, what's up, guys? Today is day 45. Day 45 after my SARP surgery.
I was not the greatest looking fellow. But I had the opportunity to work through that, and I feel like I have come out on the other side, and today I'm happy with the way I look. I feel confident in myself. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but I feel like I've made a lot of progress. How do you feel like you have been growing up? Were you confident? Did you like the way you looked?
I feel like growing up, I really didn't think too much about the way I looked, which I think is not that normal. But now that Instagram is a thing and social media, now I would say I probably think more about the way I look than I did when I was younger. But when I was younger, that stuff wasn't a thing, so I guess I just didn't really pay attention to that, honestly. But I would assume the kids growing up nowadays, young teens right now, probably have it very rough because they're coming into themselves, and at the same time that they're doing that, they're seeing all these pictures that are edited and perfected and not real, and that's what they have to compare themselves to, and it's constantly in their face. They're constantly on social media seeing these pictures and thinking wow, why don't I look like that?
Yeah, I definitely feel like the world is heading in a direction of it becoming more difficult for especially kids growing up with their confidence, that they see other people think that everyone looks better than they do because of social media, but it's really not the case. Anyway, so how would someone have confidence if they're not happy with the way they look?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is to find your confidence in who God says that you are. God says that we're fearfully and wonderfully made, that we're made in His image. There's so much truth about you in the Bible, and I would first just fill yourself with God's truth and stop listening to Satan and the lies and what the world tells you.
Yeah, and when you're so focused on the way that you look, if you think about it, it's really a very self-centered mindset because you're putting so much importance on the way that you look. And God calls us to not be self-centered, but to be outward focused, where we have our attention on others, loving other people, counting others more significant than ourselves. So I feel like it's a very self-centered mindset. It's very easy to fall into. Trust me, I've been there many, many times. And I mean, so much so, I used to try to break my jaw. I literally used to bang my jaw up against the foot of my parents' bed frame to try to break it, because I thought if I broke it, then maybe I could go get surgery, cosmetic surgery, and make it look better.
Because for those of you who don't know, he had like a serious underbite, so his teeth were like this.
Yeah, I grew up like this, talking, and made me have a lisp, so it made me really self-conscious with the way I spoke, and it made me not want to speak in front of people because people would make fun of the way I talked.
People are so mean.
And people would be like, Nathaniel talks like this. And I used to have a chest. I was born with a chest deformity where my chest sunk in, and I was on the swim team, so that was like always exposed. But I feel like God really used those insecurities of mine to humble me. And
to shape who you are now, because I've always told him, I was like, if you grew up like looking the way that he does now, I think he's very good looking. I don't think he would be who he is. Do you?
Oh no, I definitely feel like these challenges that I had shaped and made me become the person that I am today. But with that said, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to look your best. You know, I think it's fine, like, to want to look good and try to do everything you can to work with what you have. But I think the issue is when you start placing so much focus on that, like, oh, but people would like me so much more if I was pretty, or if I was better looking, or maybe I would find the person of my dreams if I was better looking. Like, that mindset, I feel like, is straight from Satan, and that we as Christians are not called to be focused on that, for that to be a focus of any kind, really.
Right. And I'll tell you something, to me, personality goes such a long ways. Like, you may not be looking like a model or looking perfect, but by gosh, you can have a great personality, and that can make you attractive.
Yeah, so some practical tips. If I were back in my shoes when I was, a teenager, and I was really self-conscious of the way I looked, I would tell my younger self to take your attention off of yourself and start focusing it on other people. See how you can help people. Focus your energy on other things, like becoming a better person, becoming the person that God calls you to be, praying about it, taking these concerns to God and really surrendering that to Him, and, just having that conversation with God. Like, I know I was not put on this earth to be so worried about the way I look. Especially, it's kind of like, I feel a slap in God's face. I mean, if you are a human being, breathing, walking, talking, I mean, that, you are an incredible specimen. And to get so caught up on the details of, like, oh, my teeth aren't straight, or my face isn't symmetrical, or my eyes aren't blue, all these things, I just feel like it's a real slap in God's face, because He created you. You are His creation.
Yeah, and if you think about trying to, like you said, put the focus on other people, so say you want to spend your energy becoming more generous or more kind, more giving, more loving, I just feel like shining God's light in that way will make you attractive. I mean, I've definitely met people like that. They're like, they may not look the best, but you're so drawn to them because they're just such a good person. Mm-hmm. And that's what really matters.
Yeah, and I mean, confidence is so huge and I think when you start taking your focus off of yourself and onto other people and becoming everything God created you to be, like Sutton said, it just makes you more attractive, inevitably. Not that should be your goal, but that is just kind of that's what happens. And also, I'll say this. So I have noticed that when some people have certain, maybe considered flaws about them, or maybe they're not the best looking person in the room, but they kind of own what they have, to me, that is like a really an attractive quality. So for example, like, I've seen people who are overweight, but they act like they just love that they're overweight. Like, they're not afraid of it. And I'm not saying you should be overweight, or it's healthy to be overweight, but or it's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying it's something that most people are self-conscious of, but some people know how to own it. And it's like, wow, that person, they're awesome. Or like, when I was younger, if I had, my jaw issue, I felt like I was always trying to hide it. Like, I may have even like tried to cover my mouth when I was talking, or I just didn't talk at all because I didn't want people to make fun of the way I talked or looked. That I would have, if I could go back in time, I would really try to own it and maybe even make fun of myself. Like, yeah, I have this huge underbite. It makes me talk all weird. It's kind of a hard thing to do, but if you can really try to find ways to own what God has given you and shine it the best way that you possibly can, that's all you can do. Can you do any better than that?
Yeah, I feel like if you have confidence in yourself, it will like give people confidence in you.
Yeah, and for example, one thing I'm kind of self-conscious about is my calves. The men in my family it's like someone deflated our calves when we were born, and they're like little twigs. So I can take one of two routes there. I can like try to hide my calves. I can try to avoid them, but a lot of times I just kind of make fun of myself. Like anytime the conversation, anything around that conversation comes up, I always kind of, I'm like, oh yeah, I have the biggest calves in the room, kind of thing. But obviously, I'm like, I have the skinniest calves ever. So I think it's just to not take yourself so seriously, learn to make light of your flaws, and
just love yourself for who God made you to be. And I feel like you're going to draw people in by being confident. And there's a fine line between like confidence and arrogance. Like we're not talking about like flaunting yourself or like coming across really arrogant, but just like being confident in who God made you.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing things that make you feel like more attractive. Like for me, I feel like one of the things that makes me feel pretty is getting a tan. I feel like going outside, laying out in the sun, I get tan, and I'm like, yeah, I feel good about myself. Or like dressing a certain way, eating cleaner. I used to have really bad acne, and for any of you out there that are really struggling with acne, something that healed me of my acne was raw milk. If you can find raw milk anywhere in your area.
Why don't you tell them what that is so that they know?
Yeah, raw milk is basically milk that comes from cows or goats or whatever that hasn't been processed or that hasn't been cooked or homogenized. And you can find these at like local farmers markets and stuff like that. But it helps. Long story short, it really helps with acne. For most people.
He can make a whole video about that topic. He's very passionate about his milk.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, guys, I know this can be a tough subject for a lot of people, and it's not a fun world to live in that when you don't feel good about yourself, and I know what that feels like. And I thank God that I feel like I have grown out of that, and it's just straight from Satan, really, is what I believe it is. He wants us to be defeated and not see the beauty that we are.
Yeah, I'm currently working through that right now with this stuff going on in my face. I'm like been wearing my glasses to the gym. I never work out in my glasses, but I'm like trying to hide my eyes so I have to wear my glasses.
Yeah, I'll say one more thing about comparing yourself to other people. There's just no win in it. It's a lose-lose situation because if you compare yourself to people that you think you look better than, well, now you feel prideful and arrogant and you think you're better looking than someone else. And it just comes from a place of pride, and that's not winning. But also, when you compare yourself to other people and you feel less than them, then you feel, defeated, and you're not recognizing the beauty that God has given you. So really trying to take your attention off of yourself, comparing yourself to other people, and focusing on loving other people and not worry so much about yourself. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, this is Nathan Sutton sowing seeds of truth, love, and inspiration one view at a time.
And that is how to live confidently when you don't like your appearance.